Hello, and if you're new here, welcome to the Canting Club. The unloved Carignan. 40 years ago, this was the most planted black grape in all Europe, covering great swathes of southern France and northern Spain. Even as late as the turn of the century, after 3 decades of government incentives to grub it up and plant something else, this was still the #1 black grape in France. The reason for its extraordinary popularity is its extraordinary productivity. Given the chance, Carignan can produce more than 4 times as much wine per acre as, say, Cabernet Sauvignon. This made it very popular with the peasant farmers of France's Midi, today's Languedoc-Roussillon. The problem was that this is a very hard grape to get ripe, and if you don't get it fully ripe, then the ferocious acidity and hard, green, stalky tannins combine with the dilute fruit flavours from overcropping to produce wine that's really very nasty indeed. But that didn't matter if the EU were going to buy up any wine you couldn't sell, and so Carignan formed the basis for the EU's infamous wine lake. Any that was ripe enough to drink gets used in blends, where it contributes colour, acidity and tannin to paler, softer and fruitier grapes like Grenache. But old vine Carignan can produce lovely wine, especially if you can restrict those yields. And today in the Languedoc, a new generation of winemakers is rediscovering this much maligned variety and even producing unblended single varietal wines from it. And this is one of those. Produced from 40 to 60-year-old vines on the slopes surrounding the village of Cruzy in the western Hérault. The winemakers have used every trick in the book to limit the yields and get the grapes properly ripe, and they have succeeded. Just. The moderate 12.5% alcohol on this shows just how difficult it is to ripen Carignan, even in the searing heat of the Midi. It's a deep, dark ruby colour, which you'd expect from the grape's reputation. It's got a lovely, clean, fresh nose of brambles, and behind that, dried figs, which is something of a Carignan characteristic. That's all supported by subtle vanilla oak and a spike of pungent dried herbs, garrigue, as the French would say. Now that's very clean and crisp and fresh on the palate, with flavours of black cherries mostly, with some blackberries as well. And there's a savoury note of black olives that comes through on the finish. Also on the finish, you can detect the firm tannins, which fortunately are fine and ripe. And so they contribute an appetising bitter hint to the finish, which makes you go back and want to try some more. This has lovely balance and shows skillful winemaking. The infamous tannins of Carignan have been tamed by careful control of the skin contact, careful use of oak, which hasn't overwhelmed the wine with vanilla flavours, and most importantly, getting the grapes ripe enough. The result is a clean and crisp, savoury and food-friendly wine that is very easy to drink a lot of. So it's probably just as well that it's only 12.5%. Cheers.